On today's episode, we've got some eye candy for the ears. That that really didn't make sense, did it? Oh well, I'll do better next time. Maybe. What's up, nerds? I've got some VU meters that I found in an estate sale years ago. Probably the same estate sale where I found the fire engine siren. Check out what I did with that one in a previous video. These are API 56L VU meters that came out of either a television or a radio broadcast console. There's some information online about these. I mean, that obscure, but I was able to determine this is a date code, probably the 13th week of 73 or January 3rd, 73, probably the 13th week of 73. And these actually fetch a fair amount on eBay and like Reverb and sites like that. They're known for their just very well made build quality and accuracy, I guess. I was going through all my bins of just junk for previous projects, and I stumbled upon these, and I thought, man, I'd love to have these put to use some way. Well, turns out somebody already figured out a solution for some of that. It's this little board here. I got it from eBay. Forgot the exact name of this. It just, I mean, if you go and search VU meter board on eBay, this guy will come up. If I can find the seller, I'll put the link in the description below. Basically, it takes AC or DC power, I think from 8 to 12 volts either way. You feed that in here. You feed your audio signal, left positive, right positive, your ground right there. And on the back here, you've got your backlight terminals. I don't know what the voltage is exactly on these. These meters don't have a backlight. I guess there's a little clear strip, this whole front panel here. The front lens is clear, so when you hit it with lights on top, the whole background lights up. We'll have to work around a solution for that. But yeah, coming out, you have your positive and negative signal that go to the meter on each side. These are your adjustment pots, one for sensitivity and one I think controls like the amount of voltage going out. There was a little data sheet that came with this, which is surprising. Usually boards that look like this have nothing, but it had a nice little schematic. Well, not a schematic, nice little sheet, amplitude adjustment, sensitivity adjustment, and all the things listed. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, what I might do is, the plan is I'm going to make an enclosure. Let me start at the beginning. I'm going to test these out first. I don't know if any of them work. I went ahead and bought the board when I found these. These two here, the prime candidates. You can see the little needle indicator level, whatever you want to call it. It moves nice and freely. So does this one. I went and cleaned the front lens off with some Windex, and it's all right. There's probably some dust underneath. We have to actually take this off. This one, yeah, I didn't even touch this. This will show you how dirty as hell it is. This one, the needle moves. Let me get this a little closer. The needle moves, but there is no protective cover. And this guy is complete back here, but that indicator needle is just stuck. I don't know if it just needs to be adjusted. I think this is a sensitivity adjustment. Find out. So really, I'm going to test out the two that look like they would work well. So let me go find a power supply. I get an audio source, probably my little personal CD player, let me try this guy out. I had a Sony, but I found this a few weeks ago. Panasonic portable CD player. I had one of these for the longest time. I don't know if this one has the MASH digital audio converter in it, but I remember having a Panasonic with that particular digital audio converter, and it sounded incredible. I was kind of disappointed when it finally died on me, and I found another one probably a year or two ago at a thrift store for, let's see if Red, White, and Blue will usually market in Sharpie. If not, this was probably Goodwill when they still put decent stuff on the shelves. But I know I didn't pay more than like $5 for the thing, and it works. So we'll be using this. Have an audio cable. We'll just snip the end off and wire it directly into the board here, and get a little wire harness and kind of tin the edges from here to the meters and check them out and see if they move. So hang tight. Let's see what we got. Okay, I've got the VU meters wired up. Thankfully, the person before me left enough, I guess, piece of wire on the back of these to let me know which one was negative and which one was positive. I mean, I'm assuming this one had a little black wire, this had a little red wire sticking out of it. So just kind of, assume that. I have this wired up to the little VU meter board right here. I also have my power supply wired in and the audio source wired in. Got my little Panasonic ready to go, and I'm going to be testing it with this CD, Don Henley's Building the Perfect Beast. Don Henley, yeah, I'm not going to be able to play any audio from it because understandably, he do love to sue people like crazy. I mean, that's what he's known for, really. Besides being the drummer for the Eagles, he's known for being a lawsuit-happy jackass. But I got this album because of Michael Boddicker. He's a phenomenal keyboardist. He did a lot of work on pretty much all the major albums in the 80s. Also did the Buckaroo Banzai soundtrack. And his work on like Sunset Grill is just amazing to listen to. It's just so many layered synthesizers and keyboards. It's great. So bought it for him, not for this guy. Anyway, let's see. I'm gonna tilt these up so we can see the meters. Okay. Let me plug in the power adapter. That's plugged in. Let's put this on a kind of a beat heavy song. I'm gonna go to All She Wants to Do Is Dance because I know that one's gonna, it's not a little ballad or anything like that. Oh, I pegged that sucker. Yeah, that works. Nice. Well, we know the board works. What I might do is burn or make a like a test CD with a sine wave, a steady sine wave at a really high volume, so we can set this the thresholds for this, and also we know left and right work because these are both working, but it would be kind of cool to see those in tandem. Let's check these guys out afterwards. The two little misfits back there. Maybe I can fix them or fix one and cannibalize parts. Heck, sell it on eBay and make my money back. So we're going to hook those two up and see what happens. I've got the spares hooked up. Let's see what happens when we apply some music to it. All right, this guy moves just as well as the other ones. This one, nothing. So I don't know, it may be just stuck or something. I'm going to have to open this one up and then see what happens. If not, while it's open, we'll take this acrylic lens off, clean it up, clean this face off, and make this one all pretty. This will be a nice spare, or if I want to sell it and make some money, I can do that. See what the market's going for this guy now. Anyway, let's focus on the working ones, and we're going to calibrate them. I'm going to make a test CD that's got like a sine wave that'll let me adjust the levels on it, get them nice and uniform, and we'll go from there. I've got the two working meters hooked up. I burned a test CD. I have a sine wave. It's a minute long stereo, so we can adjust the thresholds of this. I also have a YouTube Music Library dance track, something that is A, copyright free, and B, something I don't have in my music collection, which is like EDM music almost, something with a pulsating beat that'll move these needles on a regular rhythmic basis. I made a left and right separation track ripping in an old, I think it was a Radio Shack or like a Popular Science album, and it came out left and right separation perfectly. I mixed it in Audacity, and when I play it back on my computer as an MP3, it's perfectly left and right separation. When I burned it to CD using Windows Media Player, it put them in mono, which I don't understand. And I don't really need it because I know both channels are working. So we'll just skip that track. Right now, we're going to go for the calibration just to get the thresholds down. Peg it down to either bring it up or knock it down to 0. And we can boost each one up a little bit. All right, about there. This one. All right, about there. Okay, those look pretty even. Knock this back down just a little bit. Okay, so now we will go to the dance track and see what happens. Nice. Not pegging in the red. Let me crank it up. Yeah, when it's all the way up to 10, which is, you never listen to, it's going to distort anyway. But we drop it back down to a decent listening level. I mean, I have my external speakers turned really way down low so they don't interfere with my voice, but you can hear kind of hear it maybe. But these are nice and set now. Well, that's good. Let me stop this. So the next step, well, I need to hunt around for an enclosure for this. Don't know what I'm going to use just yet. We'll probably find something. Definitely want to clean these up. Take these lenses out, clean the back and front, clean the face up a little bit. Let's see, are they paper? They feel more like a plastic than a paper. Still, I don't want to use anything harsh that could stain it. Probably just wipe it down with like a microfiber cloth or something. And then, put the lenses back on and then kind of see if I can get this one to work. If not, we'll just swap lens, clean everything up, and have a good working one. And we'll go from there. These cleaned up really well. I mean, I know it's a little yellowing on the gauge. I don't know if that's factory or that's just probably with age. And when I was cleaning off the lenses, there was a lot of nicotine staining in there. So this definitely came from a smoky environment. So that could just well be nicotine staining. But, there are no blotches or, really visible stains on it. So I'll call these done. And they look nice. They react well too. Let's get on these train wrecks. I got the two spares, well, opened up, for lack of better words. When I took the cover off of this, I don't know if you can see these. They kind of crumbled, but this was the remnants of a tiny, tiny eggshell. Now, birds can't get into it, but small snakes probably could. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, that's very interesting. So what I'm noticing is when I go to move the needle on the good one, it goes back to 0 or all the way to the left. This one, sorry about that. You go this way, it does not. It just kind of stays. There's like a little magnetism there holding it, but it's not returned at all. I assume there may be a little return spring or something way down in there that pulls that all the way back to 0 and it keeps tension on it. Whereas this one, I can't find anything, that matches. Holding it up for comparison right here and looking at it without totally taking a good one apart to see. I can't find anything that would do that right now, like a little return, like a little tension spring or something to return this back to the left. So what I may do is I'm going to swap the face plates. These look like they're made of metal. The good one got kind of scratched up because it didn't have that protective acrylic lens on it. And it's just these two screws that come out, I'm hoping. And we'll just swap that out. Plus, I got the lens nice and clean. So this will be our good one. And this one, I'll take it apart and see if we can figure out how it works and if we can fix it. So let me swap these out, put it back together, and and test it to make sure it's good. Then I'll kind of break this one down a little bit and see what's going wrong with it. But yeah, snake egg, dirt, no spring. That's it. Well, I got my spare all nice and clean and working fine. I can't say the same for this one. When I went to try and adjust this or look at it, this part completely broke off. There's a whole bunch of little bends in there, like somebody tried to work on this. Also, faceplate was missing a screw. And when I was taking the other one off, it fell onto my floor, and you know what that means. It's gone forever. I tried adjusting these little stops here, and there is nothing in there that I can really see that would return this back unless I break this down even further. I might do that just to see what's going on. I mean, hell, it's not really of any use now to me. Maybe somebody can use it for parts eventually, but not I. So I'll dig into this later on and see what's going on. But we do have a nice clean spare, and we have two very good condition ones that we will use as our mains. Okay, so it's off to a hunt for an enclosure for this thing. Something kind of nice, retro looking that would be appropriate. Either like a wood project box that I can stain and would look nice, or something maybe like a metal enclosure with some vents cut in the side to kind of mimic the old 50s and 60s mixing console that this may have come from. Who knows? Whatever I can find at the junk store, thrift store, estate sale. It may be a while before I get back on this, but I'll get back on this. I'm back. It's been about a month now since that last segment. I've been to countless estate sales, garage sales, junk stores, thrift stores, everywhere, junk piles. And for the life of me, I can't find a suitable enclosure for the VU meters. So what I'm going to do, instead of getting a box and having to precisely cut a square to mount this, I'm going to utilize the back of this. And I have some 3-inch PVC that I have cut in these little rings here. They slide right on. There's a little gap, but nothing a little hot glue can just dab around there and it'll set in. If I need to get these things out, I just twist and pull and it'll be free. What I also bought to mount this is a cheap little project box from Hobby Lobby. I think it came out to be under $4. It was on sale. It's got a little hinged lid right there. No visible latches, so I can stain the whole thing, just a basic walnut or something. This is very cheap, porous wood. It's starting to splinter off already. Probably have to sand it down. Maybe hit it with a coat of wood hardener or something like that. Who knows, just to make it decent. But, you get what you pay for. But what I'm going to do is, what I've already done, is put a hole on one side of the ring, put a countersink little hole on this side, and we're going to mount them like, Mickey Mouse ears. I can't say that too loud because, Disney does love to sue, and just mentioning the name of Mickey Mouse might bring up a lawsuit. So the idea is to have both of these mounted like this. We have a flathead screw go through here. Just, attach it to the base of this. That way I can lift it off and work on this. And this will actually house the electronics, little board here, the little driver board. That'll fit perfectly in there. I'll be able to cut out the holes for the audio in, audio out, and the power. So, it's real soft wood. Like I said, it'd be easy to kind of cut in there, shape it how I want. And when everything's cut, shaped, and ready to go, then I'll stain it and finish it. Probably paint these maybe like an antique brass or silver. I have a whole bunch of that Rust-Oleum hammered paint, and you can use it on plastics and all. It comes out really decently. I use it for a lot of props and all for my old band, and it'll just look like a hammered industrial metal band sitting there on some nice stained wood. And one of these on either side, like this will actually act as a little standoff, a little 1/4 inch standoff. So it'll sit above the wood here and keep it nice and minimalist. And I also have some LED strip lighting somewhere around here. I cannot find it because I got it in a while ago. I just need to cut it to size, and it'll sit right on top of here. Probably have to route the cables behind it just to kind of obscure all the cables, maybe route it down through here and put that little power supply in here as well. I wish I had it on me. I mean, this is supposedly a professional channel. No, it's definitely not. So that being said, let me get to cutting and staining, and I'll come back to you hopefully sooner than another month. I've got everything kind of roughed in here. I have my rings, mounting rings in. Also have my audio output terminals there. Nice, big, bulky. And yeah, that's about it for right now. I'm thinking more of painting these just kind of satin black to match these. So they don't kind of stick out like a fat kid in dodgeball. I mean, if they were painted silver, it'll kind of take away from them. I just want to see the wood deck right there and this. So yeah, probably flat satin black. Actually, it's almost like a dark brown, like the Crispy Crunchy DX7. I have a bunch of that paint left, so that might actually come in handy. And for the stain this, I got this from the hardware store, some Minwax. What flavor did we get? Sedona Red. Yeah, that'll be pretty. It's not focusing for whatever reason. Oh well, that's that. I have some audio jacks here. I don't know if they're stereo. I just had them over the years. I think I bought like a big old parts bin from an estate sale that came with all kind of audio equipment. I mean, that's where I got these audio jacks as well. I have to test and see if they look like they may be stereo, but you just never know. If not, we'll order from eBay or to Amazon. And also for power, I need to find a solution. The driver board, it's not going to focus now, between 12 and 18 volts DC, or it'll take between 9 and 12 volts AC. I have a whole mess of DC adapters, notably 12 volt. So I think we'll go with that. And I have a little DC to DC converter. I'll bump it down to 5 volts to operate this USB light strip. It's meant to plug into a USB strip here. I tested it out. It looks really nice. It's real tiny little lights, so it's not just like a bulb every couple of fractions of an inch. It's almost seamless. It looks really nice. It's almost like a electroluminescent strip. So that's going to go on top of this gauge right here. Gauge. It's the well, I guess it is a gauge, a VU meter gauge of sorts. And what I might do is get some wire cloth to kind of hide everything in, some wire loom, so it comes down the back, and that's the only thing you really see, because I want to keep this as minimal as possible. So yeah, other than power and audio, once I find out what I need to get working, I can put those holes in here, mount them, test fit them, take everything off, stain it, finish it, paint this, and then do the wiring. Yep. See you in a bit. All of the holes are drilled. There's the top. There's the rear. There's the terminals. I think power, audio. These are the holes to mount the driver board for the VU meter and the power adapter to get me down to 5 volts to power to LEDs. So this is ready to be, I gotta erase the pencil marks, but this is gonna get stained and finished and all that other good stuff. ignore this for right now. This may or may not be a project down the line. It's an IBM ThinkCentry. Found this on the side of the road the other day. It kind of works, but kind of works is my bread and butter for this video. So if I can get it mostly working, you'll see more of this. If not, you didn't see anything. I am not really too happy the way this turned out. I mean, for $5 or under $5, you kind of get what you pay for, and the wood grain really brings out all the flaws in it. All the, you have some tight grain right here, then just big old ripples right there, and really cheap wood. I mean, it came out okay, I guess. Also, you can see, I did the smoothness test. Didn't think it would need sanding, but the stain says otherwise. Oh, well, fortunately, the gauges will cover most of this up, and I might have a solution to kind of obscure this. But yeah, I went, that Minwax I got, it was actually, that's some test runs in there. It came out more pink than anything. So I did the whole thing in that Sedona red or whatever it was. And then I had some like gun stock finish stain, and just went over it with that, kind of blended the two. And it got me the shade that I kind of wanted. But yeah, once again, it's the quality of the wood in this thing. But like I said, for under $5, you get what you pay for. These things, they're meant to be like painted and crafted up, whatever, but I'm not going to paint it. I kind of like the antique / boutique look of this thing. So we're just going to go with this. What the hell? Roll that dice and, well, you come up with snake eyes sometimes. So anyway, we're going to get to wiring everything up and get a little bit closer to finishing this guy up. I've got everything mounted and wired up. Kind of had to booger this with some Gorilla Glue. The power jack and audio jack, I think they're meant for like sheet metal or something. The threads don't go all the way through. I mean, the power one did only by one thread maybe. So I was able to get the nut on that, but it's still not very secure. This one, this is the audio one. Not at all. So I put some Gorilla Glue in there, and that's going to harden up and do what Gorilla Glue does best. On the outside, there's a little overflow, but I can scrape that away. I have the outputs wired up. These are the LED strip lights here. They're going to go on top of the VU meter. These are for the, I guess, a signal for the VU meter. Oh, come on, get out of there. Anyway, you can see that. And then mark this on your calendars, folks. Today is the day I did the right thing. Instead of just putting hot glue in here and shoving it in and hoping for the best, I drill and tap these things for number 6 screws. So we're going to put set screws on either side of this. That way when, well, actually, I'll turn it this way. When the VU meter goes in, get some number 6 screws, and we'll be good to go. There you go, just like that. So I have to do a test to make sure which side is the true left and true right, because even though I followed everything in here, the jack itself wasn't labeled or anything, so I kind of gambled. I got a 50-50 chance. So I'm going to find something like Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, where there's some really strong stereo separation. Feed it through here, see which one ticks off, and we can adjust it that way. But other than that, this thing's 99.99% done. Yay! All right, I think we're just about done here. Got the back wired up. Have the lighting strip. I don't know if I ever showed you guys what it looks like. It's a USB connector, and yeah, it's just nice that it's hard to focus in on these things, but instead of one every couple of millimeters or whatever, it's almost a straight run. It almost looks like EL wire, and it's got the little copper tabs every, I don't know, quarter of an inch, so you can cut off little sections. So this end is hooked up to a USB-A connector, but I just cut some strips, soldered in some wire, and I have it going to the open this up, going to the little 12 volt to 5 volt voltage regulator right there. Works like a champ. And what I did, I wired these up, and this is actually, I don't know if I can find it. It's like cloth electrical tape. You can use it for like wire looms and things like that. A lot of like automotive applications. I got this at Amazon, and I'll put a link down below, as well as a link to the boards and all here that I use that are really, really nice. So what I did was, made a little wire loom, taped it all up out of the two, and also here, I took those strips, and this isn't strong enough really to hold down the strip lighting. So I had some Gorilla duct tape, but the problem with that, it's black, but it's really shiny and reflective. And I went over it with the cloth electrical tape. Now I think like gaffer's tape would have been maybe a little bit better. And I might eventually, if this starts to peel up and stuff like that, maybe just get some gaffer's tape and go over it. It would look a lot cleaner, but this is nice. It's non-reflective, and it looks nice and antique, vintage, whatever. I've got some speakers hooked up. I'll take up my little portable CD player here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Hopefully I have it queued up just right in the right volume levels, and some copyright-free dance music. There you go. So, DIY VU meter station. Of course, provide your own VU meters. You can find them on eBay relatively cheap. The board is, not too much on Amazon. Enclosure box. And you have this nice little, piece of eye candy that's actually functional. So, it's good. Might go back there and be part of this kinetic background. I know Techmoan did a video of all his things like lava lamps and things like that. Apparently, according to feedback from YouTubers, they like things in the background. It's the shiny objects of videos, especially when your camera doesn't move much. I don't know why, but people seem to like it. So this may go up there. And that's about it. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for sticking out. I always appreciate you watching, sticking out, leaving the comments, both, critical and helpful. And take it easy.